Welcome back to another episode of Grizzly Books True Crime. My name is Gisela K, and today we are going to be looking at the second angle of the body cam footage now released. Finally, I can't wait for the third angle to be released, which would be from the lady who was a park ranger who spoke to Gabby and warned her that this was a toxic relationship by the looks of it, and that maybe she could choose another path. I hope to see that footage at some point, but for now, let's look at this footage. Please be warned that it is very difficult to watch, given that we know that Gabby was murdered like 2 weeks later. And so, 2 weeks, I would say, around 15 or so days, 15, 16 days. It's very sad to watch. So if you're very sensitive to this type of stuff, please just be careful. I mean, I'm very sensitive to it, but I'm here to watch it with you guys, to report on it, and to offer you my insights and commentary, which is what I know that you're here for. So let's get started. Okay, so I've got it here behind me. I'm going to make myself smaller so that we can just watch this together. You can see it's 52 minutes, and I'll move myself around so that we can see clearly. I will be here on screen with you guys. So let us have a look. I just want to make sure that the sound is good. Okay. There is no sound right now, so just hold on. Okay, so I can see the sound is working when the sound is on, so let's keep watching this. Also, welcome to all my new channel members. If you're not a member yet, please check out the join button and you can become one too. Now watch as they approach the car on Brian's side. Remember, we've seen the footage from the other side. And yes, I mean, a lot of you have commented that Brian was extremely tense at first. And when he realized, oh my word, like, I'm the victim? Like, I got this. I mean, he completely relaxed. It was eerie to watch. Now, in hindsight, now that we know what happened to Gabby, even though we're waiting for more information and autopsy results, to see him look now how like nervous he is, and that he just wants to like explain himself. So have a look.
Hey. How's it going?
How are you doing?
Good. Hey, we got a call about a male hitting a female and the two of them getting in this vehicle and taking off.
I just want to say, often answering a question with a question could be a red flag in certain scenarios. And here, when look at him, he's very like self-righteous. It's like, you know, when it's like, how's it going? And he's like, how are you doing? You know, he didn't say, yeah, I'm good, thank you. I've just had a bit of a rough morning. It's like, how's it going? How are you doing? You see what I mean? He's definitely, we've identified, we can speculate that he likes control. And this would be what I would say a control tactic to regain, he wants control at all times. This we know. Based on what Gabby said, what Gabby's friends have said, just how people describe him, he likes to have full control. And so saying, how's it going? He's like, how are you doing? Is his first way to initiate a subtle power play.
So I don't want to try and defend myself by saying anything here, but I pushed her away. She gets really worked up.
I don't want to try and defend myself by saying anything here. Okay.
And when she does, she swings and she had her cell phone in her hand, so I was just trying to push her away. But Gabrielle, you're talking about fiance, right? What's that?
Also remember that when the park ranger went to ask for Gabby's phone, he said, no, I'll get it for you. And he got it out of some kind of side pocket or a pocket on Gabby's side of the vehicle. The phone was there. So to even say that he had, you know, she had the phone and was hitting him with it, wow, is the phone so sharp that it makes all those marks? It's a bit odd. But the fact is the phone was also once they got pulled over, of course, in the side pocket, which to me implies I'm someone who always has my phone on me, you know, and it sounds like Gabby was someone like that, possibly. That's what he was getting annoyed about. She's busy with the website, and she's always on the phone, and they're sitting at the cafe from 9 till 3 because of the Wi-Fi, and he just wants to get going on his hike. So the fact that the phone was in the side pocket, I don't know if she was hitting him with a phone. Also, remember in the first video we analyzed, I mildly speculated. I didn't want to just say, there it is, because I wasn't too sure at that point. But I could definitely see a scratch on Gabby's left cheek, a long scratch on her cheek. And now we know it really was. We'll see now, but it really was. She was scratched up. So the fact that Brian, Melon Boy, Micro Melon Boy, got taken to a motel for the night. Some have said, as I've speculated before, that he got put up for 2 nights. So that's interesting. The whole timeline from then until when he got home on the 1st of September is a big mess. Whether he went home or not to clear out the storage unit, it's not 100% pinned down fact. That's what we know and what they reported at the beginning of this case breaking. But the fact that he got to put in a motel because he had scratches on him, she had scratches on her too. And that's where I felt very defensive when I first watched the footage, because I'm like, but she's got scratches on her too. And now this second angle confirms it. So we'll see.
10-4, Fuel Page Medical will let us know if we need to head that way. It's nothing more pressing than to stay here.
Tell me what's going on.
It's 10:14 at this point. They're going to get there before I can get there.
I mean, right off the bat, say you're not in any trouble. Already sort of put him at ease there. But he should have been in trouble, because he tried to take Gabby's van. He tried to lock her out the car. He tried to leave her stranded. And he hit the curb and tried to get away from police. Do you know what I mean? Like, to just, I know they're trying to calm him down. I understand why they said it, but it'd be like, you're not in any trouble. Just talk to us. Like, I guess they wanted him to talk, and he sure did. He sure did.
As far as him being in traffic, it's going to be quicker to take it there.
Where's she at? Is that your car?
He dealt with her. I don't know where he put her.
He's got some marks on this chin and his right eye.
Is she in my car?
Yes.
This isn't my car. Oh, she is in here.
So we got to lock it.
Yeah.
And now she's locked in the car. Safe from Brian, but still being, I would feel so, I know I'm inserting myself in this, but I'd be like, so like, get me out of the car now. Now to be locked in the car and everyone looking in, it must have been really stressful for her.
Hey, how are you? My name's Eric.
Eric. I believe obviously we reported on the chief taking a leave of absence. And there's also another one. I speculatively say this because I've read a few reports of some of these other police officers taking sick leave. Interesting.
I'm with Moab Police. What's your name?
Gabby.
Gabby, how old are you?
I'm 22.
What happened? What's going on?
I'm just having a very stressed morning.
Yeah. Is this your husband or boyfriend?
My fiance.
Fiance? Is he a pretty good guy?
Yeah.
What happened over at Moonflower?
Well, I was just really stressed this morning, trying to get a lot of work done, and I was apologizing to him. I had thrown a bunch of stuff in the back, and all our bags are back there. And I was just apologizing. I was like, I'm sorry that I get so stressed out because I have OCD, and I was just like organizing stuff. And sometimes I just have a mean attitude, but I'm not trying to be mean about just straightening things up and stuff. So I was just apologizing, but I guess I said it in like a mean tone, and he got really frustrated.
I feel so sorry for her. And she says, I guess I said it in a mean tone, which to me implies that she knows that Brian's reaction to whatever was going on with her was over the top. And now, based on what we know now, of course we know it's over the top. You know, now we're not really speculating. His reaction then already was completely over the top. Because she's like, I guess I guess maybe I was coming across in a mean tone. Like she's a lot of self-doubt here, which is often the case with victims of DV. Wow.
With me, and he locked me out of the car and told me to go take a breather, but I didn't want to take a breather because I wanted to get going. We're out of water.
So it kind of made you more upset.
Yeah,
it didn't help calm you. It made you more upset.
Yeah. And,
so then what happened?
And so our goal was to come here and come refill our water.
Are you guys living out of the van right now on travels?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was just really.
So what happened after he locked you out and told you to take a breather?
Well, he walked away to go take his own breather, but I wanted to sit in the car because all my stuff was in the car. I had none of my bags.
And it's her car. It's her car. She wanted to sit in her car. I also wanted to comment on the fact that, you know, she said she doesn't normally drive the van, but there is footage of her on her Instagram stories. I don't know if it's on her stories or his stories. I can't remember now. I think it's on her stories. She's driving the van. She's not deathly afraid of driving the van. It's not like he always had to drive the van. I think they took turns sometimes. Maybe predominantly he did, but it's her van. So for her to want to sit in the car, to set up her website, to get the social media going, and to set up a YouTube channel, it's a big responsibility. That's what a lot of people don't know, is what a big responsibility it is to start a YouTube channel. It's not just like a flimsy thing. I'm just going to start a channel and start like press, go live and just start talking. There's a big responsibility that comes with it. And she took it very seriously because that's what she wanted it to be, documenting their van life. And I mean, sadly, we only have one video on there that was posted, I think, on the 19th. Is that correct? I think so. And all she wanted to do was do the work. You know, and he just wanted to go on a hike. And yes, I understood that they needed water, but you can hear her frustration that she's trying her best to get the stuff done, which he clearly is not helping with.
I was working on something at the moment in the car, and he told me to just relax for a second, and I didn't want to relax, so I got...
Have you ever told someone who's feeling extremely anxious to just relax? I've spoken about this before. My husband knows. Okay, this is part of marriage training 101. If your wife is angry with you or really upset, the worst thing you can say is just relax. Like, do not ever say that to me, just relax. And I would speak for many people. I'm sure you guys can all relate. Men and women. If you're really agitated and someone's maybe really wronged you, or you're just like, listen, I just want to get this and this and this done. This is not okay. And you're expressing yourself and they say, just relax. Wow. And she's saying, I didn't want to just relax. I wanted to get in the car and continue with my work. Our goal was to get water. Wow.
I've been mad. I mean, I don't need to be mad.
Yeah, it happens. Then what happened?
And then I told him to drive and get water because I was really thirsty.
Yeah? Is there something on your cheek here? Looks like, did you get hit in the face? Kind of looks like something like hit you in the face.
I don't know.
And then over on your arm, shoulder, right here. That's new, huh? It's kind of a new mark.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Can I see the other side of your face?
Shame. The fact that she says, yeah, I don't know, implies to me it may have happened obviously more than once. Like, yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know about any marks like that. But she does confirm right after this, yes, in fact, he grabbed her face like that, which psychologists have said that's a lot of rage coming out to like grab someone like that. And especially now with what happened to her afterward. Oh, man. It's terrible. It's so terrible. This is so hard to watch.
So, what happened here and here?
I'm not sure. It was first thing really fast. I was just trying to get in the back of the car and his backpack was on the back. And it got me.
So the backpack got you? So there's two people that came to us and told us that they saw him hit you. There's two people saying that they saw him punch you. We're just independent witnesses by Moonflower.
Well, to be honest, I definitely hit him first.
Where'd you hit him?
I slapped him in the face.
You slapped him first? And then just on his face?
You kept telling me to shut up.
How many times did you slap
Bravo,
him?
Romeo, India, Alpha.
Just a couple.
And then what? And then his reaction was to do what?
Grab my arm so I wouldn't stab him.
He just grabbed.
I can only assume that it's when you say just relax, take a breather. Like, that's not usually the solution, especially if she is so stressed and trying to set up a business. I'm not justifying that she slapped him. Now we have a murder case. This is true crime in real time. So we got to look at it now as a homicide, because it is. It's a murder case. So now we can look back and say, wait a minute. So at first, when people are like, no, she was the aggressor. She slapped him first, and then, and then he hit her. Neither is right. Two wrongs don't make a right. But all I'm saying is maybe the fact that she was like slapping him was because he was already trying to lock her out of her vehicle, stop her from working, trying to control her as usual, and telling her to just relax.
Grabbed you?
Yeah.
Did he hit you though? I mean, it's okay if you're saying you hit him, and then I understand if he hit you, but we want to know the truth if he actually hit you.
I guess, yeah, but I hit him first.
Where did he hit you? Don't worry, just be honest.
He grabbed my face, like, I guess. He didn't hit me in the face, like, he didn't punch me in the face or anything.
Did he slap your face or what?
Well, he grabbed me with his nail, and I guess that's why it was. I definitely have a cut right here because I could feel it.
Yeah.
When I touch it, it burns.
Shame. She said she can feel it and it really burns. So that's how he grabbed her face like that.
Okay. So has he been drinking?
No, we don't drink.
Okay. What was up with his driving? This officer said he hit a curb.
I hit him.
While you're driving?
Well, he was driving.
While he was driving, you were hitting him?
Well, not a lot, but yeah.
And that was distracting him while he's driving? Are you
only for a second. Only because I saw the light come on, and I kind of so stupid.
Did you already tell him all this?
She wanted him to stop the car for the police, and he was clearly in such a rage he didn't want to stop. He didn't have an intention to stop, just like right now he doesn't have any intention to come out from wherever he is and actually own up to what happened or give answers.
I didn't get that far into it. She was hyperventilating.
She's saying that they don't drink, but at the point when you let them up,
You don't drink or anything. I was yelling at him, and then when you turned your lights on, I kind of punched her arm like you're an idiot.
she's saying was why he hit the curb. You said it was Gabby? I'm sorry, I'm really bad. Name was Gabby?
Yeah.
Okay. You okay, Gabby? Do you have medication for anxiety you take or anything?
No.
Do you take any medication for any...
I just do yoga and
try to meditate and stuff? But you tend to have...
The only thing I can insert there is a lot of people, I've been there, I was a raw vegan before. It was very hectic. And I was like, no, I don't need therapy. I don't need medication. I'm just going to do yoga and meditate and just go for walks. But sometimes I just want to put it out there for anyone out there struggling with their mental health. Please go and seek out therapy. It is the most valuable thing I've ever invested in. It is so good. And no, it's not a quick fix, because I think you guys gather I'm very intense and I do everything 100%. And so I kind of approach therapy that way. But there is no quick fix. You can't walk in there and think in 10 weeks I'm done, or however long. I was like, I'm going to walk in there, get diagnosed and leave type of thing. Also careful what you wish for. I got diagnosed real quick because my symptoms were very obvious. But anxiety, whether it's anxiety, depression, any mental health challenges that you have, therapy will help so much more. I'm sorry to say it. Some of you might argue with this, but therapy, you can do yoga, do meditation, do yoga, eat clean foods, go on walks, do all of that. But therapy is still so valuable on top of that. So that's just my 2 cents in hindsight, because we have to learn from this case. That is why I like the case. I like to get on the case to learn from it. That's what I've always done with true crime. That's why I study all these people, including the serial killers I've written about. I want to learn from it. And is there a pattern here amongst them all? And as I said yesterday, I feel like at the moment, Brian could be a serial killer. because that's what I've studied predominantly for most of my life, you know. And I was going to go into a whole story. Leave that. I will tell that another day. But I was studying serial killers specifically, and why they do what they do and how they do it and what the patterns are amongst them. And I just feel like at this point, Brian might be a serial killer. We might be dealing with one. We're yet to find out.
Have a lot of anxiety and stress.
I have a lot of anxiety.
And what's his name? Is it Brian? Is he usually pretty patient with you?
Yeah, but it just makes me upset. I know that he definitely gets frustrated with me a lot because I have a lot of anxiety and he definitely has anxiety too.
Oh, that could be a bad combo if you both.
See, she said he definitely has anxiety too.
Both have anxiety. You know, I have anxiety too, and you know, my girlfriend. My girlfriend's really, really calm, and she has a way of taking my anxiety and bringing it down. But my ex-wife, that's why she's my ex.
No, I think all the police all across the world need to watch this too and just learn not to try to build rapport with your own stories out of your own home. It's not a great idea. Just stick to the topic. Let the lady talk. You know, she's trying to look at her face. She's like, oh, okay. Man.
Ex-wife, I'm just sharing. I know it's a little personal, but to help you understand, we would feed off each other's anxiety and it would spiral. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter how much I loved her. It may be bad for your soul. Just saying. I'm not telling you what to do with your life, but if you know you have anxiety, look at the situations you can get in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're not here to be mean to you.
If you have anxiety, look at the situation you can get in. I don't know. That just, you know, there is such a stigma around mental health labels and mental health disorders, all kinds of stuff that if you followed me on Instagram for a long time, you know, I used to speak so much about the mental health thing, about my own diagnosis, all of this kind of stuff, because it is so stigmatized that is unfortunately not really the appropriate thing to say given the situation. Even in the situation, even if they didn't know obviously what was going to happen, no one knew what was going to happen, and it happened 2 weeks later, I understand that. But to say, you see what situation you can get in? They need help right now. Because that feels like it reflects on you. Like, look at that. You've got anxiety. You see what kind of situation you can get in? Man, I have so much empathy for her. Shame. I mean, this is terrible.
Or anything? Well, you know, there's a first time and then it usually, we'll go see what Brian's saying, but I think you've heard everything now from, you know.
Quick question, you said you were hitting him in the arm? Did you actually?
See, there's Melon Boy sitting there without a cap on. He asked if he could sit in the shade. The guy said he'll give him some shade, so he's literally shading him right now. Using his own body as a shadow. So wherever he is, he's probably wearing a hat, you know. We've got to know that. We've got to know what to look out for. I'm not in America. I'm in the Netherlands. I'm South African, so I can't look out for him there in Florida or wherever he may be. But he'll probably be wearing a hat, being outdoors for so long.
You want to come stand in the shade? It's freaking hot. Yeah, I know.
I mean, he thinks that's hilarious. You want to come stand in the shade? I mean, he thinks it's so funny that the other guy was trying to shade him. Shade him. Different meaning. Also, thank you to everyone who bought me coffee. Coffee is my love language. It keeps me going. Thank you so, so much. But Brian laughing like this, he's just like, yeah, let's go stand in the shade, bro. Like, he's too happy given the situation.
I know the struggle. So you don't drink or anything?
No.
Okay. So you were talking to these officers, and I don't mean to butt in. I just felt kind of bad for you. Maybe even if you stand here, you'll have more shade.
I don't want to be a weirdo ducking down, but
no, I know how it is.
I have a big sombrero.
Well, from when I first got here, we were more worried about what kind of a guy you are from what we heard. But in talking to your girlfriend, it sounds to me like maybe this is not so clear.
So was his hat on the dash? Is that what we just heard?
And I just felt kind of bad for you. Maybe first time, and then it usually.
Sorry, had to go back.
What Brian's saying, but I think you've heard everything now from.
Quick question, you said you were hitting him in the arm? Did you actually?
You want to come stand in the shade? It's freaking hot.
Bald man.
Yeah, I know the struggle. So you don't drink or anything?
No.
Okay. So you were talking to these officers, and I don't mean to butt in, I just felt kind of bad for you. Maybe even if you stand here, you'll have more shade.
I don't want to be
Right?
weirdo ducking down, but
no, I know how it is.
I have a big sombrero.
Well, from when I first got here.
I think it's his hat on the dashboard. Got my sombrero. Sombrero. Maybe he is in Mexico. Be loving them sombrero. He's like, I don't want to be a weirdo ducking down. Bro, you are a weirdo ducking down at this point. Damn.
We were more worried about what kind of a guy you are from what we heard. But in talking to your girlfriend, it sounds to me like maybe this is not so clear cut. So, did you already get...
We were worried about what kind of guy you were. Yeah, from the 911 calls and the witness reports. But, now talking to your girlfriend, we realize, we feel kind of bad for you. Damn. I don't know how they got to that conclusion, because this whole thing is painted as evidence of DV. And Gabby's behaving exactly how a victim of DV behaves. They apologize on behalf of their abuser. They try to cover up when they're like, how did you get those? Like, I don't know how I got the scratches. Might have been the backpack that got me. I don't know. I hope that this case, that the good that can come out of this case, which is unfortunate. As you know, I was an airline pilot, and what I used to hate is that sometimes a major crash is what causes change, what causes people to look at that again and say, wait a minute, this happened because of this and this, so let's make changes there. It's human error. That's what they call it. They call it human error in aviation. It's often the cases with air crash investigations and things like that. So yeah, I was a investigator long before. I've always been into true crime, but man, I used to watch those air crash investigations and just look at it and be like, oh, human error. And same here, we can hopefully learn what the human error was, and there was some human error in this case. And in this case, it would be not spotting the obvious signs of what is going on with a domestic violence going on in this relationship. I mean, over here, he's like very, very noble, listening to, wait a minute, I'm in the clear. It's sad.
Give a statement to this officer?
I got this gentleman here.
Yeah. And this gentleman noticed that you had some marks on your neck. Yeah.
See, he's like, yep. Whereas Gabby, they're like, you have marks on your face and on your arms. She's like, where? And she's like looking and like, I don't know. But he's like, yep. He's,
She's got some marks on her too. So we're just trying to figure out what all happened. And I know you probably already told your story, but this officer is probably going to be the one handling the whole case. Do you want to listen to what he has to say? And
yeah, absolutely.
And then you tell him what happened, will you? If you don't mind.
Start at the beginning for me.
See if it sounds the same.
I'm going to turn my car, get this noise out here.
No, leave your office on.
For the past
It could be hot,
week or so, traveling around. And the flies here are like pretty intense.
The flies here are pretty intense. Remember that line? And then her last picture has a fly and a pumpkin, and I don't know, he's very busy with the flies. Let's look in the car, shall we? So you can see the backpack. She said his backpack was on the back. All along, I thought it was her backpack that he hooked up to the back of the van on the ladder and that he was going to drive off, but it's his backpack, which is weird. But there's the backpack. There's the hat we see. Still got the plants on the dashboard. Also, the thing that I do find interesting about this footage is how the back of the van was in such disarray. It really was an absolute mess. Like, what was going on there in the days leading up to this? I might be wrong. I'm still going to look at this, but I think this officer right here that we see is the one who drove Brian to the motel. I like how you guys pointed out that one thing that Brian's physiology has is that he's always holding his own hand. Wow. Yeah. It's an anxiety thing, I guess, but he is most often doing that.
We take us to the farmhouse.
Thanks. Thank you.
Do you think he'll do water? Can I get water?
Oh, no, apparently they don't even drink. She says that he hit the curb because when Officer Roberts turned his lights on, she started punching him because of the trouble they're in.
So the relationship's going well.
Yeah, he can drink.
Shame, in hindsight. But yeah, the relationship, going well. Not. Some of you commented on my video when I looked at Gabby's time in high school and the job she had afterwards and her interview. I mean, I thought that was of interest. This is what I do. I look true crime in real time and I look backwards. Sometimes I can look not forwards, but I look at what's happening now. Then we look at what's, what can we analyze, like this body cam footage that's now been released. But then I also like looking back. And it's interesting for me to know that they were this volatile of a relationship, toxic, I guess is the word, in high school already. The peers were like, man, they were like high, low. So I don't know if I finished my sentence, but some people commented that it's like really boring and like my channel's become really boring. And I don't pay attention really to the trolls, but I just look at that and I just want to make a statement and say that I'm very methodical in my approach and I look at everything. I'm not here to be like hot news, look at this. Like, I look at the whole thing because I'm trying to figure it out for myself. And now I'm doing it in the public eye. And you guys seem to enjoy it. So sometimes I'm going to look at more boring things, which is like going back and looking at the high school and the corridors and absorbing where the subject that I'm talking about, of which there will be many in the future, we'll cover many other cases, some old, some new, some ongoing, some cold cases, lots of different things. So for everyone who's new on my channel, just know, if you go back, that's going to give you an indication of what kind of content I make in general. I do want to keep on with cases, and I definitely want to investigate more on Kylan and Crystal and the other body that's been found, and more bodies that are recently being found in the area. That is very interesting to me. So I'm going to be looking at that. I'm hyper-focused on this case. So many of you are submitting, look at this and this and this and this and this case. I get it. I appreciate it. But just know I'm a very hyper-focused, disciplined person. And I'm hyper-focused on this case right now.
Water, thanks. Doesn't seem super cold, but maybe. You want Gatorade? You want water? I got some water.
Yeah,
Shame. She just wants water. Not loving the Gatorade, but they must have been so thirsty because they were on their way to get water.
Prefer water?
I'm sorry, I only drink water.
I don't blame you. She says that she can only drink water.
Are you worried about her story? Like, should I...
No, you can talk to her. She seems like a really sweet girl, 22 or something, has a lot of anxiety, and from what she's claiming, she's the full-on aggressor here. I'd love to go talk to the independent witnesses, and maybe that's what I'll go do. Yeah, there's a couple waters. Here's this back, because you might need that for someone else.
See what I mean? It always stands like that. Is that a name for, is that like duck foot? No, what is that actually called? I know that pigeon toed is like inwards. So what's that? But it's always standing like that. So that is a sign to look out for. And here we can see the tattoo is fading because some people have said it's henna, it's not a real tattoo, it's fake tattoo. Maybe tattoos can also fade depending on when he got it. But I mean, it wouldn't have been that long ago because they both got it. And Gabby's parents also got the light one of her tattoo on their fingers. It is interesting that his is the colored in one, the dark one, and hers is the same one but light. It's like yin and yang, light and dark, huh?
Rings, phone, and I was holding on to the keys because I didn't want to go anywhere. And my big fear is, I don't have my phone, I don't have a phone. So she goes off.
I don't have my phone, I don't have a phone. I don't really have my phone on me, I don't have a phone. Look at this guy watching him. Robbins.
Alright, I'm on my own. So I was saying, let's just go for a walk, and she was trying to get the keys for me, so I was just going, just wait back up, and then that's when she hit me, and I didn't give, I don't want to push you, I didn't give completely physical, I'm just trying to keep her away and not get hit, and then I got really loud, and I just probably fear of this attention where I was going, back up, get away, just get me.
Okay, so You said you pushed her to create some.
You could see Brian is very nervous here because this guy, the way he was looking at him was very, in a very intimidating way, I think. Even though later he seemed to be on his side, he was just like looking at him, just like full on eye contact, just staring at him. Some people have speculated that he may be on the spectrum, the autism spectrum, possibly, based also on his last Pinterest post when he said how to cope with, I think it was, how to cope with autistic burnout. Possibly. But, you know, I know people closely on the spectrum, and direct eye contact is very overwhelming for them. So this guy just like looking at him like that, you could see Brian is like looking down and just like really uncomfortable. But I mean, of course, later Brian kind of won them over.
What happened after that? What got the
Okay, Google. Police, how are you? Hey, we got this van stopped, and we've separated the male and the female, and we got both of their stories. Now that we're not looking for them so intensely, I was just wondering if you had a minute to just kind of repeat to me what it is exactly you saw.
No problem, sir. Yeah, so I was talking to my friend across the street near the Forest Service building, and I just noticed that this couple was sort of arguing a bit. And, you know, I wasn't staring at them, but it did catch my attention. And what I noticed is it seemed like they were sort of squabbling over a phone. I want to say that he was trying to grab her phone, and I'm not sure exactly why. And then it seemed like he had sort of blocked the one side of the van and sort of wasn't letting her in. And then the male was stepping into the driver's seat, and she was trying to get into the van. I think he said something about, why are you being so mean, something like that. And I remember she sort of hit him a few times, and it wasn't like slugs in the face. She was trying to get into the van, and I think he said something about, why are you being so mean.
It sounds like he's saying that Brian said, why are you being so mean?
It seemed like he had sort of blocked the one side of the van and sort of wasn't letting her in. And then the male was stepping into the driver's seat, and she was trying to get into the van. I think he said something about, why are you being so mean, something like that. And I remember she sort of hit him a few times, and it wasn't like slugs in the face, but just kind of like two kids kind of fighting. They reminded me of very secure, I don't know, children sort of fighting.
Okay. So not like violent, like at the outset, it's just like kids fighting, you know? But here you're saying that Brian got in the car and said, why do you have to be so mean? That's interesting because I think the written statement, because we went through it together, was saying that she said, why do you have to be so mean? So this is different now.
But there seemed like something was off, and it seemed like a weird vibe. And yeah, eventually it was like, you know, she crawled into the driver's seat, sort of like got into the vehicle over his lap, sort of forced her way in, I guess. And then they were in the car, and then they just drove away. So I wasn't sure what the nature of the argument was or what. It just seems like there was some sort of disagreement and some sort of like shutting. I don't know why she would have entered through the driver's door. I thought that was strange. And yeah, so I thought about calling it in, but as soon as I walked up this bar, there was another gentleman who was already calling it in, so I was like, oh, good on you. That seemed a bit off. I wasn't really sure what to do in that situation, but that's what I saw, and if there's any other specific questions, I'm happy to try to answer.
Did you ever see the male strike the female?
I would say that I think I saw maybe a push or a shove, but not like a full-on punch to the face or anything.
Was
But
the
something
shove like
certainly off.
was the shove or push an aggression towards her, or was it a defensive maneuver away from her or to get her away from him?
That's a good question. It was unclear what was going on to me, but it did seem like he was. It seemed like he was trying to close off the passenger side of the vehicle and close things up. It almost seemed like he put that backpack or something on the back of the vehicle. I'm not sure. And then he was stepping in and she was out trying to get in. So maybe.
Okay.
I don't. It was the whole thing was off, and so no, I didn't see anything that was like him chasing after her or hitting her or vice versa. It was kind of light and they were almost kind of laughing, and I wasn't sure if they were just joking around. To be honest.
Kind of laughing. That's interesting as well. Maybe it's because they were in the public eye and just like, this is awkward because he was saying that I'm like, hello, people are watching. So it might be they were laughing, could have been him, like sort of giggling and trying to play it down and just get in the van and isolate, to protect his image in the public eye. Because he definitely mentioned that he was worried about like people watching. Interesting.
But then it got more strange as he was in the vehicle, about to drive off.
But you did see her slapping him, though, it sounds like.
Yes, it was like, my memory is he was in the driver's seat, and she has the driver's door open, and she was like kind of hitting him either in the arm or maybe on the face, maybe with an open hand, like, hey, let me in, don't be a jerk, something like that.
Okay. Well, your story is really, really helpful because you're an independent witness, and we've just interviewed both of them, and what you're saying is making everything make a lot of sense. So I really appreciate that I ran into you and that I was able to get your number and talk to you. So thank you very much. If we need to ask for a written statement, obviously it's voluntary, it's helpful, but at this point I don't know if we need to go that far unless you're around and super willing at this moment. I can meet you and get a statement.
Yeah, no, I live here, totally willing to do that.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Maybe I'll just I can go write it down now before memory fades, because like I said, I was kind of just casually observing, but something did seem off, and
something seemed off. I mean, if you see a couple fighting kind of like teenagers, that's what he's saying, like kids, and just fighting and sort of giggling, but like he's trying to get away. That's what he felt was really off, I guess, because he's mentioned that twice, of like, but he was getting in the van, like locking her out, that there was a backpack, and he's like trying to leave. He's trying to leave her behind, and she's really trying to get in the van to the point where she jumps through the window over his lap to get in the van, and they go. Something was off to the point where maybe to, a person watching in public, it might have looked like car theft, like Grand Theft Auto. Like what is going on here really? Like why are they fighting and what is happening and why is he trying to take her car and, so, but it sounds now like the witness was actually saying that Brian was saying, why do you have to be so mean? Which is interesting because Gabby was saying that she doesn't want to be mean. She's never trying to be mean. It might just be her tone. So I don't know if already then, I'm just speculating, maybe Brian already saw that everyone was watching and he's like, why do you have to be so mean? And then got in the car. Which already plays down what was going on or what he was doing or his role in it in a DV situation, possibly. Of just like, why do you have to be so mean? I've seen that happen before. Like in a bar or something, if there's a couple fighting and maybe it's a DV type relationship, and let's say speculatively the male's the aggressor. Seen stuff like that happen where they're like, why do you have to be like this? You know what I mean? To make sure the public sees them as the victim. I don't know, just speculating.
Just wanted to make sure that no one was in a bad situation. So
Where can we find you to give you a form real quick?
Okay, and then he gives his address and everything, which has been blanked out as well.
About 10-15 minutes.
Okay, cool. All right,
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right, bye.
Bye. Hey, Robin. So I just got off the phone with one of the two witnesses.
It's all right.
And I recorded it. Do you want me to tell you what he said real quick? Do you mind hanging with him for a minute? So, I think we'll get away from both of them. So, he said that he never saw the male strike the female. He saw...
There's the hand tattoo. Thank you to everyone who submitted what you know about those tattoos. It definitely looks like the curse mark thing from anime, from Naruto specifically. That looks precisely like it, but it's not usually on someone's hand. I've seen some references to possibly Freemasonry, to gangs, to all sorts of things, but definitely an interesting tattoo. So if you want me to analyze that at some point, I could, but at this point, we gotta keep it, on track with what's going on. But this is the guy that drove Brian to the motel and gave him a lot of suggestions of where to travel next. And he said Yosemite, mentioned a whole bunch of other parks, places that he should see. So some people have speculated that that's exactly where Brian would have gone. I don't know, because he went home first to his mom and dad. And then went camping. Bought a burner phone, or just a phone. People are saying it's not a burner phone, it's just another phone, but at AT&T, an AT&T phone. We don't know that it's only one phone that he bought either, with his mom possibly. An older woman, standing there buying the phone with him. That's been on the footage. I haven't seen the footage. I don't think that's released yet. If it is, send me the links. Remember to send me tip-offs, serious tip-offs at grizzlytipoffs@gmail.com. Again, there's so many emails there that I can't respond to everyone, but I see them, and I thank you so much for your tip-offs. They help me so much in my research work. So, yeah, people are speculating that maybe he got ideas even for the message that he sent from Gabby's phone. If it was him sending it of like no service in Yosemite, it could just be a typo, maybe he meant Yellowstone, of which there would be signal in many camps, but maybe that's what he meant. But I don't know. Some people have speculated and tied together that this police officer was saying, you should go to Yosemite and you should go to this park and you should go look there, and that Brian would do literally that. I'm not so sure. My honest speculation is to look for Brian back at the Grand Tetons. It's the least obvious place they're going to look for him right now. And if he is in any way a serial killer, in any way, if there's even a small percentage, they like to return back to the crime scene. I find the fire pit with a fresh ash interesting. It could be him. I know that people would be looking out there. I know that people are driving past and camping there and everything. But I just feel like I haven't seen someone mention that he could literally be there, back in Wyoming. That's where I'd be looking.
Male trying to lock her out of the vehicle. She even told us that he was trying to lock her out, told her to go take a walk. Said that she was trying to get in. She eventually couldn't get in and actually clawed her way in through the driver's door. He says, I don't understand why she's doing that. Well, I think it's because it was the only door that wasn't locked that she could get through. She's trying to get in over him. He's trying to disengage from her. I guess he hung her backpack on the back probably so she'd have her shit so that he didn't have to engage with her. Everything she's saying is the same thing. I haven't heard what he said, but if that's what he said, it's also what the witness is saying. The witness says, I never saw him hit her. I saw him shove her, but I couldn't tell if it was an aggression against her or a defense against her as far as her, being the aggressor. So at this point, unless the guy's screaming that he needs to go to jail and did something to this girl, it sounds to me like she is the primary aggressor.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with her being the primary aggressor is in incidents of domestic assault, be it a male or be it a female.
And now we know what they say next, but we're going to watch it anyway. All I want to say is, let's say that she's identified as the primary aggressor, even though they both have marks, and based on her saying, no, don't worry, I was hitting him first, and it was me punching him, and it was me doing things. Victim of DV behavior, possibly. Okay. But even though, if they were to say, well, she was the primary aggressor, ask why. Why? We got to go to the cause. Why is she the primary aggressor? What was she fighting so hard for? Her van. Her home. At this point, this was her home. And he was going to take it away from her. Her van, her laptop, her phone, food. She had no water, no resources. He was basically, which is why the witnesses called in, going to leave her stranded there. Which already puts her in a dangerous situation. Just, I don't know, very safety conscious. You don't just leave a woman alone, standing out there stranded in the middle of Utah or anywhere. So that is why she was the primary aggressor, is because she was fighting for survival, and her survival was her van. That's where the food is. They were going to get water. That's where all her work stuff is. Everything of hers is in the van. And I find it so sickening that all the stuff of hers in the van and allegedly in the storage unit, we still got to find out what's going on with that, hasn't been given back to her family. If anything, the police need to get that now. Like, get it and give it back to her family.
We shall arrest. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean they have to go to jail. We can do a citation if it meets one of 3 criterion, which one of them is that we can ensure that they're not going to further risk each other's safety. But the problem with that is they live in the same vehicle.
That's what I was going to say. The other part of it is
there was actually been injury too to the victim, which is him.
Right, and I'm getting conflicting stories about why they hit the curb up here.
What did he say why he hit the curb?
Well, I watched, this is what I saw. Saw him cross the double yellow. I was doing 42 miles an hour. I was, I don't know, probably 2 car lengths behind him, tapping my wheels at him, trying to get his attention. They knew I was behind him. And then after he crossed the double yellow, he merged over into the right lane, and then out of nowhere, just boom, went hit the curb.
So did he tell you why?
He said that she grabbed the wheel and turned it real hard. She said that she was hitting him in the arm. So
sounds legit. I mean, I'm sure if I'm driving and my arm's on the wheel and I'm getting hit in the arm, I'm probably pulling out the wheel.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was a little of both. I mean, usually the truth is somewhere in between. He's probably trying not to say that he hit her because he probably doesn't want her charged with assault, domestic assault. He probably would rather say she pulled the wheel than hit him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, unfortunately for her, we cannot treat, just because he's bigger and stronger, and even if he's not willing to press charges, we can't treat this differently than if it was a male on female violence.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to charge her, and we can do a citation if there's some.
How about charging him with grand theft auto? Trying to take her vehicle. I know they were engaged. It doesn't matter. The vehicle was hers. It was in her name. It's her vehicle. Even though they built it together. And he did a lot of work building it. Legally, it's her vehicle. She's trying to take her vehicle.
Arrangement that can be made to separate them, and then we have to let them know that there's no contact order in effect. And then we have to let him know the only way to drop it is to go into the police department during business hours and fill out a waiver, which, by the way, what's today? Thursday? Today. So it won't be till tomorrow. And they're only there till noon, I think.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure he's going to want to drop it.
Well, the other part of it is they said they've been on before.
If he's the victim, why are they so sure that he wants to drop it? You know what I mean? He did want to drop it.
5 months that they've been living out of the van together.
Well, this is really bad news, so let's talk to him first.
Yeah.
His name's Brian? Did you ask him yet and take pictures of him? Yeah?
No, I did.
So Brian, unfortunately in the state of Utah, we don't have discretion on some things. Like, for example, if I pull you over for speeding and I want to give you a warning, I can do that because it's under a Class A, it's a Class B or under. If I want to give you warnings for all kinds of stuff, I can, but there's a few things I can't. When I say I, the police, I'm not in charge of this. One of the things that the state legislature doesn't give us discretion on is charges when it comes to a domestic assault. And it sounds like you guys are living together, so you meet the statute for domestic partners, and you do have injury, and both an independent witness, probably the next one we're
She also has injury.
going to talk to as well, which we haven't talked to yet, but the one we did talk to, and your own companion, have made it clear that she was the primary aggressor, and that she was striking you and that you received injuries. You haven't admitted to striking her. She has not admitted to you striking her. The witness did not see you strike her. So at this point, you're the victim of a domestic assault.
She did say he grabbed her face, and that's why she's got the huge scratch, and she had scratches on her arm.
Even if you didn't want to pursue this, we don't have a choice. The best thing we could do to not.
And now he's a little anxious still, but he's starting to relax because he's realizing, damn, I'm in the clear here.
The law says we have to charge her. It doesn't say we have to put her in jail. Okay, but it also says we have to separate, do a no contact order, and then we have to put her in jail if we cannot separate. And there's a little problem here. Is you guys live out of Florida, living in the van together. How are we supposed to separate you guys? Now, I don't want to take this small 20. What is she?
Yes, a 22-year-old.
22-year-old female in jail.
Why does he have to think about her age? He went to school with her, he dated her, it's his fiance. He's like, 22, yeah.
You could definitely defend yourself against order, and then we have to put her in jail if we cannot separate. And there's a little problem here. Is you guys live out of Florida, living in the van together.
He's like, damn. Like his face is like, whoa, you have to put her in jail if you can't separate us?
How are we supposed to separate you guys?
Yes, I see the sticker where the guy's hand is right there on the fuel cap, so that was already there. Remember in the dash cam footage, I was wondering if that is like a scratch or what is that, but it is, from what I can see, it's the marking is already there. So it's probably a sticker, but there we can see it before the crime.
I don't want to take this small 20. What is she?
Yes, a 22-year-old.
22-year-old female in jail.
jail.
You could definitely.
22-year-old blonde hair, blue-eyed. Did he say gazelle? What did he say? What word did he just say there?
If we cannot separate. And there's a little problem here. Is you guys live out of Florida, living in the van together. How are we supposed to separate you guys? Now, I don't want to take this small 20. What is she?
Yes, a 22-year-old.
22-year-old female in jail. You could definitely.
Okay, no, he didn't say gazelle. I would have been like, what? 22-year-old, look there. He's like, ooh, this doesn't look good on me. 22-year-old, blonde hair, blue-eyed, like I don't want to know that she basically kicked my butt. That's what he's trying to protect here, is his image.
Defend yourself against, but at the same time, we can't say because you're a male and she's a female, we can't treat this different than if you were the male hitting her. We gotta treat it the same.
Yeah, no.
So she's kind of in a tough spot. So unless you have an idea about how she can not go to jail and be separated, do you have friends in town? Somewhere she can stay? Tomorrow, if you want to, it's up to you. You can
go to jail?
You can't because we don't have a charge.
Can I go to jail? Now you can. And we hope you do. Can I go to jail? Wow. Really makes everything after this very interesting, doesn't it? He means, can he stay in jail for the night so that she can have the van?
Now tomorrow, if you wanted to be with her again tomorrow,
I'm gonna take your radio.
If you want,
I'm gonna take your radio. Look at the guy. He's like, oh yeah. Like, his face is just like, okay then, because it's a very, look at that. It's such a strange thing he said. Hey, for those of you who mind me going back and forth, don't mind me. We got to look at it over and over. Hold on 1 second, please. Let's do this.
we got to treat it the same.
Yeah, no.
So she's kind of in a tough spot. So unless you have an idea about how she can not go to jail and be separated, do you have friends in town? Somewhere she can stay? Tomorrow, if you want to, it's up to you. You can
go to jail?
You can't because we don't have a charge for you. Now tomorrow, if you wanted to be with her again tomorrow,
I'm gonna take your radio.
What does he mean by that? He's just like, you've done nothing wrong. And he's like, I'm going to take your radio. So he means, I'm going to steal your radio right now so that I can be, so it's proof that I've done something wrong and you can put me in jail. To avoid this whole situation. Look at the guy. D. Robbins over there. Is it, I can't see the full name. But Robbins, Officer Robbins here is just like, what? That was a weird statement, bro.
If you want to be with her again tomorrow, because it's after 5, so our office is closed, you can go to the police department, fill out a waiver to drop the no contact order so you guys can still be together. But she's going to have a court date online in a week or two. She's going to have to show up for her court date online and answer. The prosecutor might drop it. They might say, for example, if you're not willing to pursue it, if that's your decision.
Anyway, I was going to say, it definitely is. I'm not going to pursue anything. My fiance, I love her, it's just a little squabble. I'm sorry that I had to get so public.
She's my fiance. I love her. It's just a little squabble. Even from the people that saw her at the restaurant, him and her together, it wasn't just a little squabble. People notice the little squabbles they have because it's so explosive. So I wish they asked him also what the wire injury was about. I don't know what that would have been about, but I'm going to take your radio. Wow. You've done nothing wrong. I'm going to take your radio. Can I go to jail? Wow.
So I just want to get like the checklist of things I got to do to get rid of it. So it says
you want her back,
date.
See, he runs by checklists in his mind. I'm not going to speculate too far on the psychology of that. I mean, I could, but I'm not going to because I am not a mental health professional. I'm a mental health patient. There, his tattoo looks a little more clear, to be honest. Doesn't look so faded there, but when he's like, I just need a checklist of what I can do. So that's his most important thing right now. It's like, okay, everything needs a checklist. I mean, my brain also kind of works like that. Everything needs a checklist. And that cannot always be rushed. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, okay. This is how I run my channel, how I run the content I make. It's checklist based. So, for instance, as you know, I was planning to do map time of all the other bodies found in the area. That was the first thing on my checklist, but now this was released, so I've had to rearrange that. But checklist. He's like, can I just figure out a checklist of what I need to do?
Well, she'll get a paper with a court date. Okay?
How do I get rid of it?
Well, the court date.
She will get a paper with a court date. He says, I'm going to get rid of it. Like, you can't, dude. You can't get rid of it. He doesn't want that. He doesn't want to show up in court. And they said in a week or two, she's going to have to show up in court. And isn't it so shocking that within the 2 weeks, which would have been maybe the maximum time that the court date would have been, she was murdered? What if, and I'm going to speculate, what if, because you just don't know how someone can handle, how someone processes humiliation, especially if they do, speculatively again, have a background of trauma and specific humiliation as a trigger. Let's say his trigger is humiliation, speculatively. What if he was so humiliated to have to even show up in court and face all this and have that on public record that he just made sure to get rid of her and run away? You just don't know. We don't know how his brain works, but that could be because humiliation, it's a huge trigger for me personally based on my trauma. And so that is something that could trigger me to get like really enraged if someone is trying to humiliate me. So if I think about that and put myself in his shoes for a second and his mindset, because that's what I do, even with all the books I've written, I try to think like, okay, get into their shoes and think like them. I don't know if he was so protective of his image or so fearful of his parents and what the repercussions would be if they had to show up in court and realize this trip actually didn't go very well. And he actually, they were, because of their actions or him or whatever, because of all of this, that they ended up in court and ended up with either a criminal record, worst case scenario, or just even something on the file. He seems very minimalist. I want to say OCD, but I don't want to just throw that out there. I understand OCD very closely. So it just seems to me that he's like, no, that can't be there. Like he wants to purge that. Like purge the record, purge any sign that this ever happened. You know what I mean?
It has to be attended in order for them to decide whether they need to continue or drop it. The first is just an initial appearance to say, are you who we think you are? Yes. Do you understand the charge that's been brought against you? Yes or no? Yes or no, the answer. Do you have an attorney? Yes or no? Do you need one? And then from there, she can ask to speak with the prosecutor. The prosecutor might be contacting you and say, hey man, I know she's 110 pounds soaking wet and you're a big strong guy and we understand you're not even wanting to pursue this, but the cops have to follow the statute. How, what in the interest of you, of justice for you as a victim, what do you think? And they can decide to still prosecute her. Or they could decide to drop it. Or they can decide to give her a plea and make it kind of go away if she behaves from now on. But that still does not eliminate the first court appearance that she has to attend, which thankfully for you guys is going to be online. So you don't have. So if you're out of town, so here's the thing: if you're out of town and she doesn't come into our court appearance online, they can suspend her driver's license. They can issue a warrant for her. So she needs to play ball and go.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And we're a team. Me and her are a team. I'm sorry about all this. I want to apologize again. But so she's got her online court date. Just
Me and her a team. Me and her a team. Clearly not anymore, Brian. Clearly not anymore. He's not loving this online court date. And as I'm going to say, I don't try to say me, me, me. I'm not here to insert myself. I'm trying to understand and help you understand what I understand and share that. But sometimes in my past, if situations happened, something unfolded, like, you know, once I reversed my car into like a cement pole, and I was so deadly afraid of my parents. It goes into my trauma background. So afraid of them that I was like panicking. I was talking to police officers, to the garage, you know, to how quickly can you get a new bumper? How can we cover this up? What can we do? I'm starting to wonder, based on his parents' behavior, what if he's deathly afraid of them? What if he has a trauma background? What if they are very, very passionate about protecting their image and that now he has tarnished or tainted their image? Do you know what I mean? Obviously, to the highest degree. They must be so pissed right now. And the way that they're walking around and everything they're doing is like, oh man, we're just going to clean up this mess and try their best to protect the image, but it's not working. It's not helping at all. So it's almost like they've put him away, possibly in a container or a different home, a safe house somewhere, and just like, don't worry, we'll deal with it. We'll deal with this mess you've made, which is something I understand very closely. And the fact that there's this court date going to happen, I mean, I just feel like he was very, allegedly, speculatively, let's speculate that he was extremely stressed about that and about his mommy finding out.
Acknowledge that she's hurt, and then she's got the one for the...
Well, there's automatically right now, there is something called a no contact order in place.
Yeah,
From this point forward
yeah.
until tomorrow, if you wish to drop it, you have to go into the 217 East Center Street, Moab City Police Department, and you have to ask, we'll give it to you. You want to fill out a waiver that you're requesting a waiving of the contact order, the no contact order. The no contact order means she cannot come into contact with you, she cannot talk to you, she cannot text you, she cannot go onto any premises that you're occupying, she cannot go to your vehicle. And until you drop that, or until court date, if you don't drop it, it stays in effect until midnight on the day of court. And then that gives you time to get a protective order, a long-term one, if you feel like you need one. But it sounds like you don't even want this one. So tomorrow, they open at 8, you can go into the police department, you can fill out the waiver, they can remove it, then you can say, hey babe, where you at? Let me pick you up. And you can pick her up. Now, we're hoping not to put her in jail, but if she doesn't have somewhere to go tonight, to be separate from you, then where are we supposed to
I can't talk to her now because it's separation.
Because there's no contact order now.
So, tell me this. Do you guys have enough money for like a hotel room or anything like that? Because what we could do is we'd cite her for this, and then I'd give her a ride over to whatever hotel of your guys is choosing.
You can pick her up there tomorrow if you want to drop the no.
So initially, they were going to put Gabby in a hotel, and he could pick her up there the next day, and he could take the van. But that should have changed roles after this.
On your way to go pick her up, you stop over there at the PD, sign the paperwork that they're requesting, and then you can go pick her up quite literally within minutes.
Unless you know someone else in town that's a friend that she can stay with.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, unfortunately not. I don't, and I guess that...
Man, I sure hate to... I don't want her to go to jail.
Will it be... If she goes to jail, it's like, that goes down somewhere instead of her going to...
See, he's really worried about that record. What's going to go on the record?
Well, tell her, right? If you did a citation, it would be...
It kind of depends. So if she goes to jail, they're going to book her. And they'll take her fingerprints. It's going to go on her criminal history.
Sorry, I'm laughing at the guy that's like in the background there. Bet he regrets that now. There's a lot to regret here. A lot to learn. Let's say that, rather. There's a lot to learn. Man. As I say, I understand a lot of mental health challenges and disorders and things deeply. I've done a lot of research on it. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a mental health professional. I've just researched it very, very deeply. And yeah, within our household, there's a lot to understand deeply, intimately, to live with it, to see within myself to see in my partner, we have a lot of knowledge on things relating to what I see, possibly in this case, minus DV. That's not there. But the fact that it just seems to me like he could be someone who's OCD, because he's so like, no, there mustn't be any trace, no record, no footprint of this, nothing online of this incident. Which I understand, especially if you are striving for like perfection or perfect clean record or having no problems, possibly. There's also speculation that his dad has a criminal record, a previous one. I haven't looked into that because, again, everyone sent me the link, but it is a paid service and no one else has paid for it either. To see behind that curtain, does he really have a criminal record? But maybe they're like, all you must do is not have a criminal record in your life. Not you, not for your fiance, no one. You know what I mean? You might be absolutely deathly afraid of this happening, which starts a whole snowball of events. I'm not blaming anyone. We just have to look backwards. If you've read any of my books or listened to them, you know that that's what I do.
And then if they don't convict her, then it will just show that it was dismissed. It will show up in her criminal history, but the charge was dismissed. If she is found guilty, it will show up as she was guilty of domestic assault. But the charge itself will show up on her criminal history until she gets it expunged. Now, even if we give her a ticket, we're still going to take a fingerprint, and it's still going to show up. Either way, it's still going to show up. There's no way around a Class A. Or is this Class B?
This is Class B.
But they do require a fingerprint on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
The other part is if you contact her or she contacts you, she can be charged with a Class A.
Well...
Which is a little bit different, but it doesn't help us.
If you were to contact her and she responds to you, then she could get a new charge for violating the no contact order. The no contact order doesn't restrict you, it restricts her. So if you go talk to her and we find out you're not in trouble, she'll be in trouble. So it's in your interest to...
So we can only guess and speculate that he contacted her. I would assume.
Does that all make sense?
No, I'm getting it all.
It's a lot, really quick.
No, I'm getting it all. I'm just trying to figure out a way through it.
You don't know...
I'm understanding it all. I just want to figure out a way. He was going to say probably around it, but he means I'm figuring out a way through it. Like how to avoid all of this. How to make this go away. The thinking already starts there.
Anyone in town? You guys been here how long?
No, I don't know anyone in town. If she went...
She could... I don't think CK will take her where she's the aggressor. No. It is a women's shelter.
I'm curious.
You could find out and say, hey, she doesn't have where to go.
If you did the citation, say she drove off she could drive off in this car.
We could give you a ride somewhere.
Yeah.
And that was his suggestion. Say she drives off in this car. Not that she drives off in her car. What if she took her own car, huh? It's like, yeah, we could give you a ride somewhere. And he's like, all right. Like he's thinking, he's very calculated. He's very good at thinking on his feet. Very good at thinking on his bare feet.
I got my backpack.
Sucks for you, but
I got my backpack.
You can spend a night.
You want to drive me to Delicate Arch?
Does she have a good driver's license?
You want to drive me to Delicate Arch? See, go to Wyoming, look for this guy. Go to Utah, look at the Delicate Arch for this guy. I always had a feeling about Delicate Arch. He's probably out there, like camping it up. We don't know.
She doesn't have a driver's license.
Do you trust her with your vehicle?
Yeah, she can handle it.
If he is speculatively OCD, if he's got obsessive compulsive disorder or likes the checklist type of thing, and he wanted to go to the Delicate Arches on this day or beyond and had unfinished business there, he would have gone there. And let's say if things still happened and transpired, we don't know what happened between this day, really, and the 29th, besides obviously Gabby being found murdered and the restaurant on the 27th. As for other witnesses, we don't know that for 100% sure. And some of the testimonies are like, interesting. You know, it's interesting. You don't know if the FBI maybe facilitates people coming forward with witness testimonies to get people to start talking more and give their witness statements. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying maybe he went to the Delicate Arches, like he actually was taken to the motel. But his goal was to get water and go to the delicate arch. They were very close to that on this road. So I'm just thinking he would have definitely finished whatever his plan was and whatever the itinerary was. If his mind works like that, he would have wanted to stick to that.
Well, then you'd kind of be home.
Which is also telling, I'm sorry, in the Happy Halloween post he made on the 26th of August on Gabby's Instagram, speculatively that he made, Happy Halloween means, okay, it's the end of the trip. So it makes me think that his mind works like that. Like, check, check, check. Well, now it's the end of the trip. The trip was meant to end on Halloween. Happy Halloween. You see what I mean?
Almost for the night around
And
town.
man, I can't talk to her at all.
Well,
and I've got to do the thing, so I can't go camping.
we can tell her what it is that she needs to do to get through all this, and then let her know what your plan is.
Here's the problem though. If we take you up to Delicate Arch, you're going to be hoofing it from Delicate Arch all the way down to Moab Center Street, so that you can fill out that paperwork. Because if you're not there by noon tomorrow,
They're
you're going to be
closed
looking
at
at
noon
Monday
tomorrow
morning.
because it's early out Fridays over the office, so
Yeah.
you won't be there after.
You'd be looking at Monday morning before you could actually see her again.
And again, we're not trying to make your life hard, but this is written in statute. There's nothing
know, a
we
lot of
can do about it.
bureaucracy.
It's designed to protect.
Now we need to know, did he go there by noon the next day? I want to know that. Did he go there by noon the next day? Because if he's like, all right, so if I don't go there by noon the next day, I can't see it till Monday. It's just interesting.
Victims of domestic assault, not everybody's the same. This is different than normal, but we have to treat everything the same. And that's just how it is.
So do you think that you can't afford a hotel?
No?
Very little money we have for sure.
Hotels are expensive here now.
You want me to? I'll call CK then.
Just see if CK will take her for the night.
I'll see if they'll.
Very little money that they have as of now. Maybe he should use 3 different cards on his way home to Florida, which is what his charge is about. His charge is not yet for homicide. It's for unauthorized use of debit cards and credit cards. Of bank cards.
If they'll take either
Is
one of them, 'cause then we
CK
can figure it out.
This is a
CK
women's
even take
shelter.
me? Oh,
Actually,
Yeah.
CK will take him as a victim of domestic assault. CK will take you, and they will help you tomorrow.
And you're like a block and a half away from the PD.
Let's see if CK will take him, because they actually they didn't take a guy, but they got a hotel for a guy last time.
Yeah, I'll do that.
CK might get you a hotel. Now, what she does...
I might be sleeping outside in a sleeping bag.
No,
So, like, I don't need a hotel.
I think
I'm just saying,
I think CK will get you a hotel.
Why not? I thought you were sleeping only on your tarp or the time you were hitchhiking. I thought you like just being off grid and just sleeping in a sleeping bag under the stars. So it's weird that he's like, I'm not going to be sleeping on a sleeping bag outside. It makes me think that that's exactly what he wanted to do.
If you want her to have the van, we don't care. It's up to you. But there's nothing we can do about the rest.
I don't want to open my car. I'm just trying to think. I gotta grab my. I gotta make like a little bag.
You sweating to death yet?
I think we're good.
You good? I'm going to talk to you real quick, but I've been talking so much, I got to get some water. I'll be right back. Let me grab the water. Now this is the water.
I was going to say the same. Now that's a water. Damn.
Cold water.
That's what we get visitors.
Hell yeah. Okay, Gabby, when you grow up and you're a full-grown man, this is what you'll drink from.
When you grow up and you're a full-grown man, this is what you'll drink from. She a woman. I know, just building rapport. But, I'm sorry, but I feel a lot of misogyny in this whole scene. And it's unfortunate. I've been a victim of the worst kind of misogyny in my life. So I'm very sensitive to it, kind of triggered by it. And I just see it here. Like, one day when you're a man, you're going to drink out of this bottle. Like,
Plus it's ice cold, and so I'm going to drink from it.
At least it made her laugh.
Sorry. You'll probably never be a full-grown man.
I know you do curls.
You'll probably never be a full-grown man.
Then you can do your curls. So, Look, full-grown man, this is what you'll drink from. Plus it's ice cold, and so I'm gonna drink from it. Sorry.
I can still hear the ice.
You'll probably never be a full-grown man.
And then you do curls.
Then you can do your curls. So, look, I'm going to speak to you frankly. I have a daughter almost your age, and I'm looking at you not so much like a suspect, but also as kind of a victim, in the sense that you're dealing with some struggles emotionally and mentally at your age. Probably they'll work themselves out as you get older. There's a lot of angst at your age, and I remember being your age too. And hopefully it works itself out. But the stuff you did today that contributed to this, because you both contributed to this, is as a result of your inability to cope with the anxiety and the stress that you're having. So in a way, you're kind of a victim of this. I think you would have done better if you had the skills to do better, but you don't.
I'm allowed to get angry. It's my channel. I hate what he's saying to her here. Because of your inability to handle your own mental health and anxiety, look what happened. Try to say those words to Brian and you'll see how he would react based on everything I've seen about him now. Ooh.
Learn skills until you learn skills, and you don't have enough life experience yet to know how to navigate everything. Like, I don't either, but I can navigate what happened. If I was in your shoes, I could handle it different because I'm 39 years old. I've been through it. But I've got a lot of life lessons to learn still, because I'm like my dad and my grandpas, they know stuff I don't know, right? They can do stuff I don't know. So in a way, I'm just letting you know that we sympathize with you. But based on what you've said and based on what our witness has said, and even based on what your fiance has mentioned, trying his very hardest not to have you in any trouble, he does have marks on him that witnesses say were caused by you slapping him.
So does she have marks on her cheek and arms.
And that even you say you slapped him and were aggressing him first. And I don't have anyone saying that he actually punched you aggressively. It sounds like it was shoving.
We have a witness saying he was slapping her.
In a manner that was probably more consistent with trying to prevent you from entering the van or to get space from you. Not
to prevent her from entering her own van.
Not to assail you, if that makes sense. So, if the tables were turned and he was beating on you and you were shoving him, of course we're going to look at it like, oh, of course she's defending herself to get away from this guy. Well, we're kind of looking at it the same way with him, and we have to treat both fair, even if he's a bigger male and you're a smaller female. The law doesn't say, hey, Officer Pratt and Officer Robbins, you can treat people different based on gender under the same, so we can't. Even if it makes no sense that because you probably could not physically destroy this man the way that he could if he attacked you, we can't treat you different, okay?
Those words, they hurt a lot now. You probably could not physically destroy this man the way that he could to you. And look at what happened to her.
So all that long-windedness I'm giving you right now is leading up to the fact that if I pull someone over for speeding, I have the right to give them a warning. I have something called officer discretion. But in the legislature in Utah, they have made a law that if we have a domestic assault, they don't trust the police to make good decisions because too many cops have made bad decisions. So they say,
yep,
we're not going to give you discretion. We're going to write a law that says if you have a domestic assault, whether it's male on female or female on male, whoever the primary aggressor is has to be charged. No choice. You don't get to get...
Let's hope that law and rule changes for the better, for really handling DV cases without that blanket statement and just like, if there's aggressor, identify the aggressor, charge the aggressor. That's very... Imagine that, applying that in aviation. I come from an aviation background. I was a senior first officer on an Airbus 320. And I'm telling you, if you say, these are the checklists, this is what you do, exactly this. Sometimes there's scenarios where you have to deviate from that. You have to actually figure out what the hell to do to save lives. Yes, I've been in an emergency situation in an aircraft which could have ended with a fatal crash with everyone on board. Had to think on my feet. Did not just follow the checklist. I got an award for that, for how I handled that. And I think the captain to this day, he always spoke very highly of me based on how I handle it. Why? Because I know that sometimes, even if there's checklists and rigid rules and everything, you still have to apply the thinker sometimes, given the situation. Lightning hit the engine, severed the fuel lines and hydraulic lines. There was oil and fuel just spurting out of the engine, and a whole bunch of stuff happened after that. I had to think for the survival of everyone on board, the captain and myself, everyone, the crew, captain, myself, passengers, everyone on board, even the animals in the hold. So, when I say that sometimes these very blind, generic type of rules which apply to everyone, which usually would cater for the lowest common denominator of, it's like, this is what to do all around, all across the board. If you see this, identify the aggressor, charge the aggressor, separate them. I understand. But also remember, everyone, use your thinker.
Give them a warning. Doesn't even matter if they've barely heard it all and the guy doesn't want to press charges, or the girl doesn't want to press charges. We don't have a choice. We literally have no choice. He does not want to press charges. He says you guys are a team. He says you're his fiance. He says he loves you. He says he doesn't want anything to happen. But we're explaining to him that we don't have any choice in this. So we're trying to get a local victims advocacy group called Sea Haven to get him a hotel for the night, so that you can have the van, because they won't give you the hotel because you're the one who is the primary aggressor. So they're going to consider him the victim. So they're going to get him a hotel. So he wants you,
based on his suggestion, to do exactly that. Initially, they were going to put her in a hotel, and he was going to take the van. And then he suggested, what if we put her in the van? You know, so that she doesn't go to jail.
so that you don't have to go to jail, because the only thing we can do is take you to jail. He says, well, so she doesn't have to go to jail, then I will accept Sea Haven's help if they'll give me a hotel, and then she can have the van, so she doesn't have to go to jail, she can just have a ticket. When you get the ticket, it's going to give you
Doesn't look like she's loving this whole idea, right?
a phone number to call, and they're going to give you a court date, and that court date will probably be online.
I have to come back to Utah?
No, it'll be online.
Oh.
You have a smartphone?
Yeah.
So you can, I go to court, you're okay.
Sorry, I've never heard of this. I didn't know
Yeah,
this existed in
when
Utah.
COVID happened, they switched all the court from in person to online. So when I go to court now,
I have a ticket for hitting the curb or something, please, because we're okay. Like, we're just.
I understand, but we don't have any, like, listen.
She does not want this court date either, all these charges and everything. Please, can you just give us a ticket for hitting the curb? We're just human. I'm getting the chills. I literally have goosebumps, and not just on my arms and my legs. That's when it's like, ooh, the goosebumps I can feel here. She's like, no, 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 because I think she'll know how he will react to this.
Listen, if I had any discretion in this, I would separate you guys for the day and just give you warnings to stop hitting each other. But I lawfully don't have discretion here. I don't have any.
Because somebody said something, like a witness said something.
But there's two witnesses, and then there's what you said and what he said, and guess what? It all matches nicely that you were the primary aggressor, and that the
It all matches nicely.
injuries he has were caused by your aggression towards him. Even if he doesn't feel hurt, even if he doesn't want to press charges, there's nothing any cop can do about it. It's written into the law.
I know that. I don't.
Normally we take people to jail, but he's trying to work it so you can just have the van tomorrow.
Oh, he was trying to work it. Normally we would take you to jail. But he's trying to work it so that you can have the van and he can be put up in a motel. Man, imagine if... You see, the fact is that they were following rigid protocol. Then follow rigid protocol and take her to jail. Follow it. Every single bit of it then. So that she could have gone to jail and he could have taken the van. And maybe things could have been handled differently, possibly. I know hindsight's the best side. We can't just look at that and be like nitpick, but we're doing it now based on learning. We're trying to learn. And that's what I would say. 1, use your thinker. 2, also, if you are going to follow rigid protocol, then follow it. All of it, 100%. She should have then gone to jail if that's what they're going for. that she's the primary aggressor, go to jail, let him take the van, and make sure that she's safe the next day. We don't even know if they checked on them the next day.
Tomorrow,
I don't want to be separated.
you can have anxiety?
Yeah, no, we're a team, please.
There's no, what is it?
No, like, we're a team, please. It's gonna give me so much anxiety. Can we just have like a driving ticket?
Okay, the very best thing I can do is call my supervisor and see if I'm we take people to jail.
Did you see that? She's begging them not to let this happen. Please, he's going to give me so much anxiety. I think she means he's going to give me so much consequence and violence, which is what happened. Allegedly, speculatively, we don't yet know if he's the one that murdered her, but we'll find out and then it will make sense, I suppose.
But he's trying to work it so you can just have the van. Tomorrow,
I don't want to be separated.
She said, I don't want to be separated.
You can have anxiety?
Yeah, no, we're a team, please.
There's no, what is it?
No, like, we're a team, please. It's gonna give me so much anxiety. Can we?
Okay, she said, back it up. Please don't separate us. I don't want to be separated. It's going to give me so much anxiety. So that's what she's saying. But initially I thought she said, I thought he's going to give me so much anxiety. But she's like, please, please, no separation, begging to not be separated from him. But I think I'm still saying it's based on the consequences that she foresees from this guy and how he reacts.
Like a driving ticket.
Okay, the very best thing I can do is call my supervisor and see if I'm missing something here.
I'll pay any driving ticket, a parking ticket, anything.
Okay, yeah.
She said she'll pay anything. You know, so there also he's saying, oh, we don't have a lot of money. You gotta like put us up or put him up or whatever. But here she's saying like, I'll pay anything, whatever driving ticket, whatever speeding ticket or anything. So there is some money, which we know, of course, because if he did use her account, which we speculate, they haven't confirmed exactly whose account. We've seen the clues, okay? We've seen some of the numbers of the cards and all that, so it's her card. But I have to say speculatively at this point. We'll come back to it later. But he like cleaned out at least what? He bought things of $1,000 value, so they had some money, of course, for what she's offering here, to pay for that.
Gabby, try to calm down, and I'm going to go call a supervisor. But I don't think that there's much I can do, but let me see if the supervisor can tell me something I'm missing to make this not happen.
I couldn't handle that, I'm sorry.
Just give me a minute, okay? You know.
She can't be alone for the night. She can't handle that, and she's sorry. I think it would be, if it is a DV situation, can you imagine being forcefully separated from the abuser for a night and the fear you would feel all night about what the consequence will be the next day? I would fear that, would you?
You don't have to sit out in the hot sun unless you want. Okay.
Gotta stay hydrated.
Hey, so a tiny little girl, 22 years old, slapped her boyfriend, her fiance, several times. He's got a little bit of a little tiny abrasion on his chin, on his jaw. They got into a van and drove off. He got called in by there's one caller and then a witness. Got them stopped. The story from the witnesses matches the story from the female, matches the story to the male. She was pissed off, she's having a rough day, he tries to separate from her, she's not staying away from him, she has severe anxiety problems. He locks her out of the van, says you need to go for a walk and cool off. She's forcing her way into the van. She's clawing her way past him into the van to be with him. He's shoving her to get her out of the van, but he's not assaulting her or he's not assailing her. He's trying to keep her out. She's punching, slapping, everything.
But what about her scratch on the face and saying he grabbed her face?
She's got to be 105 pounds soaking wet, 22, full of anxiety, having a really tough time. Not making excuses, but I mean, it is written into code. We do have a domestic assault here. He's not wanting to pursue it. He's very adamant. He does not want to pursue it. We're explaining we don't have any discretion on these things. We're giving him a no contact. We're letting Seek Haven see if they can get him a hotel so she can have the van, so that we don't have to put her in jail. She's really struggling with the idea of being alone and not with him and not having the van. They want to be together. I told her, look, there's not anything I can do. This is all written into freaking statute. I just said the last thing I can do is call a supervisor and see if where this is such a minor. There's like a slap fight, and the injury is from a fingernail. I just don't know if it's worth the whole domestic thing or not, or if it's going to get us in trouble if we don't do it this way. Well, they don't want to, but I told them that unless I get some kind of permission some other way, I'm pretty sure this is just statute and that we have to separate you.
While we're watching the call, you can obviously see the dates and the time there. For interest's sake.
As far as the domestic assault charge, what do you think about that? Well, I mean, do the whole thing or not? But is there a way to not do anything on something like this? I mean, it's so minor. It's hard to say, right? I'm going to go reread the statute and just see if it fits or if there's a way it doesn't fit. And if I can find a way that... Because it really is... The spirit of the law is being lost on this one. It really is. So let me see what I can find, and if nothing else, then we'll have to separate him whether she likes it or not. Alright, thanks. Bye. Thanks. Bye. Bodily injury means physical pain, illness, or any impairment of physical condition. So let's see. He's not ill. He doesn't have an impairment of physical condition. And if he's not in pain, like how far do you want to go with this? Like, you know why the domestic assault code is there. It's there to protect people, especially the reason why they don't give us discretion on these things is because too many times women who are at risk want to go back to their abuser. They just wanted him to stop, and they don't want to have to be separated. They don't want him.
Yes. Yes. That's what she wants. Just like, no.
Charged. They don't want him to go to jail, and then they end up getting worse and worse treatment, and then they end up getting killed.
Yes.
In no...
Oh my word, yes. Like literally, yes. She said the words. This is literally what happens. Apologizes for the abuser. Doesn't want to be separated because like, no, I can't be alone. I got to be with him. Because there is a very toxic bond. There's a trauma bond between the victim and the abuser in these cases. So She's like, please, please, please don't separate us. Oh no, because it would be that fear of what's happening the next day. And then, as he says, they get treated worse and worse and worse. Which we saw the witness statements and everything in the restaurant and him marching in and out, fighting with the hostess, all of that. And then they usually end up killed. And that's what happened. So one more time.
Code is there. It's there to protect people, especially the reason why they don't give us discretion on these things is because too many times women who are at risk want to go back to their abuser. They just wanted him to stop and they don't want to have to be separated. They don't want him charged. They don't want him to go to jail. And then they end up getting worse and worse treatment, and then they end up getting killed.
Yes.
In no way, shape, or form that I can perceive does what happened here, a little slap fight between fiancés who love each other, want to be together, can I perceive that this is going to digress into the situation where he's going to be a battered man?
That he is going to be a battered man. No, but exactly what you just said happened. Worse and worse and worse. She was killed.
Right. But then again, I don't have a crystal ball. So I was looking at I talked to the assistant chief to see if there's any way to just go less than than the full force domestic assault route.
Right.
And he says, look, I mean, you either go all the way or you don't. And it's like, okay, but under what circumstances can I not? And really the only time I cannot is if it doesn't fit. If it fits, then it's in the law, then you have to do it. So I went and I looked at the code for assault, because this is an assault enhanced with domestic assault. Utah Code assault. Now you and I both know what it is, but think of how valuable it is to look it up and read it word for word, especially when what you're doing is going to get evaluated by a court who cares a lot about words. Words are there for a reason. Assault is an attempt with unlawful force or violence to do bodily injury to another. So did she attempt to do bodily injury to him?
She went to smack him.
Was it?
And he slapped her. That's what the witness saw. And he tried to take her vehicle.
Was it her intention to do him bodily injury? Now, that's what we have to find out. Because it says bodily injury is, that by definition, physical pain, illness, or any impairment of physical condition.
Well, he's got a swollen right eye.
We don't care what the result was. We care about
a swollen right eye? She got a long scratch on her cheek and scratches on her arms too.
The intent.
So we gotta go find intent.
If she did not intend to cause him pain or illness or to cause him impairment of physical condition.
Was it intent and attempt, or intent or attempt?
When you're attempting to do something, you have to intend to do it.
True.
If I attempt to get a basketball through a hoop, I have to intend to do it. Intent is implicit with attempt.
Right.
Okay, so what was her intent? What was her intention? If you go ask her, what was your intention when you were slapping him? And she says, I wanted him to hurt or be ill or impair his physical condition, then there's nothing we can do.
Okay.
One way to word it might be, hey, when you slapped him, were you intending to cause him physical pain? And let's get rid of illness because it has nothing to do with it. Physical pain or impairment of his physical condition. Is that your intention? Is that what you were attempting to do? That's what it says right here, an attempt.
Right.
Were you attempting to cause him pain or an impairment of physical condition? Whatever she answers to that question will seal her fate. Because the only way you know what she was attempting to do is by asking her.
Right.
Well, that's true. At least they did ask her, but she's like, no, 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 never. But man, oh man, this is sad.
Set it up right. Set it up just right.
That's how people love someone who's that way.
Gabby, this is a very, very important question. How you answer this question is going to determine what happens next. But the only person who can answer this question is you.
Okay.
Think very hard before you answer the question. Do not quickly answer it. Think very hard. When you slapped him those times, were you attempting to cause him physical pain or physical impairment? Was that what you were attempting to do to him?
No.
What were you attempting to do? What was the reason behind the slapping and stuff? What was it you were attempting to accomplish by slapping?
I was trying to get him to stop telling me to calm down.
When he's like, just relax. then she got angry with that, which anyone in that situation, when you're all hyped up and your needs are not being met and you're trying to get in your car and you're trying to get to your work and you feel like you're not surviving, I mean, it's one step away from a panic attack, and someone says, just relax, and she says, I was slapping him to try to get him to stop telling me to relax. I'm not saying it's okay if someone tells you to relax to hit them. I'm just understanding what happened. And I'm also understanding that she has marks on her face and on her arms as well. And so maybe in this situation, I don't think so. The outcome could have, that's all we can say now, been better if they just let them go. They could sort it out amongst themselves, but I don't think that would have been better. However, separating them for the night and identifying her as the aggressor and him as the victim and all that just really, I believe from what we know about him now and what happened to Gabby, that fueled him. You know, the cops couldn't see that's gonna happen. It's just terrible. What happened is terrible, and I'm just trying to think about everything to learn from it.
Well, it doesn't sound to me like she attempted to injure him. It's your call. This is 100% your call. I support you either way.
Can't say that I barely believe it. She openly admitted to me earlier that she was striking him in the arm. He said that she was striking him in the arm. He said she was, and that's what caused him to hit the curb. She said that she grabbed her. I might have mixed too much stuff probably.
No, she said that too, that she started distracting him by hitting him, and that he probably looked at her, and that's why the mark is on the window side. And she said it was her fault that he swerved because she was distracting him by hitting him. But she said she didn't try to hurt him, it wasn't malicious, she thought that he wasn't listening to her.
So assault is an attempt with unlawful force or violence to do bodily injury to another. The code for bodily injury, the definition says, bodily injury is infliction of pain or physical impairment or illness. So you can go. Now I'm recording, and society and the judges and everyone can judge me for this. I am looking at a 110-pound female and her fiance who have no means to be separated. He doesn't want to pursue it. She's not a threat to him, more than slight abrasions from her fingernails. I don't care if we use the actual letter of the law to not charge, but I also don't care because it literally does possibly make perfect sense to go full-on domestic assault and do the whole thing. This is your opportunity to make the decision.
Let's do this.
I support you either way.
Let's do this. Taking your advice, let me do a crime report on this. Won't charge right now. Won't cite her for it right now. We'll send it off to the county attorney. City attorney, because it is a county. Send it off to the city attorney. Let them screen it and make a decision.
If you send it to the city attorney and they strongly disagree with your decision and they throw a complete fit, you might hear about it in a very negative way.
Right.
So I would make a decision yourself.
I'd rather be dinged for a decision I made than a decision I didn't make.
Especially if they think you're completely negligent in your decision. Why give it to them?
In hindsight, I don't know exactly where this guy ranked. It just feels like this is his big opportunity to, I don't know, make a mark on his career and all that kind of stuff, to really hey, this is your opportunity to make a decision here, almost like he's in training. You know what I mean? I don't think he was. I think he's fully qualified and everything. It just, I wish that the decision didn't lie on him.
The only way to reason to give it to them is if you're not sure if you have enough for something and you want them to decide if they have enough.
That's what he wants.
So I support you. I'm not joking. If we need to go all the way to jail, or whatever we need to do, all the way down to.
Your ears out.
Go ahead. I better go on that. You got this?
I'm making this decision. I'm going to cite him. I'm going to go follow through the process.
Would you feel more comfortable handling that guy?
Yeah.
Go handle that guy then.
Go handle that guy?
Go handle that guy.
Okay.
If you're more comfortable.
Well, it's 6 one way, half dozen the other.
It's up to you.
I mean, it's a headache whether I go left or it's a headache whether I go right.
Another option is to not charge them but separate them for the night. If they find themselves together again, what is it to you? You separated them. You provided for his safety. If he doesn't have enough sense to stay away and you got him separated, it's on him.
You can't babysit them all night unless they're in jail, so it's up to them to how they're
You can separate them and say, don't let this cool off till tomorrow. If they don't let it cool off and we hear about it, we'll hear about it.
They're camping in the park tonight.
Unfortunately, you heard about it.
And if there's some fighting going on, you already was Mr. Nice Guy. You already gave him a chance. What you can't do by law is separate someone and say, if we hear from you again, we're going to arrest one of you. Because then if one of them really needs help, they may not call police and get help. The law says you cannot, literally, you may not say, if we get more problems with you guys tonight, one of you is going to jail. You can't threaten them like that if it is true, because it will stop someone from wanting to call the police to get help. Does that make sense?
Right.
So go full or nothing or in between and separate them and kind of give them the nod, the wink, like, hey, just stay separated. It's up to you. I'm going to go handle that. You got very capable help with you here, and I trust you.
All right.
Call me if you have any problems. SOTT, I'll separate. I'll be en route to that intoxicated male.
And off he goes.
I just want to say thank you guys for helping us. Oh, yeah. Appreciate you. You too.
Okay, he's just gonna drink more of his water. So, let me guys know in the comments below what you think about this. I'm not here to attack the police, shame them, shade them, or anything like that. I'm just looking at the situation and thinking what I don't like about it is that Brian manipulated the situation, which he's very good at doing. And when they said that she should go to jail and he should take the van, not realizing that if they ran the plates, they would know it's her van. You know, so run the plates, follow protocol. If she needed to go to jail, then put her in jail so that he can take the van. But what I don't like is that he manipulated the situation based on him like not wanting this to go on record, no court dates, no nothing like that, which they said was absolutely going to happen, which I actually think now, based on what the outcome was, that they didn't do that. I don't actually think there was going to be a court date. Am I right? I think they decided to just separate them for the night and be like, oh, well, if we hear from them again, which of course they didn't. I would highly assume and suspect that that they met right up, because they told Brian, if you contact her, you won't be in trouble. It's if she contacts you that you'll be in trouble. They both had their phones, so I'm sure as soon as he got to the motel, the first thing he did was contact her. And I'm sure they would have met up again. I don't even know if they would have stayed at the motel for the night. That we don't know. I wish I could go there and knock on doors and start asking questions, but I'm not a police officer or detective. So there's that. Sorry, I just want to check. I got a beep here for this. Still working. So I just think it's horrible to see that he manipulated the situation. He made the suggestions, which then I would say speculatively, I don't know this for a fact, but it seems like the most junior cop in the room got to make the decisions, got manipulated by Brian, which sucks. It really sucks, because he's like, wait, why doesn't she take the van? And then you can give me a ride somewhere. As long as I don't have to sleep outside in my sleeping bag, could you take me to Delicate Arches? No? Okay, well, where am I staying? They're like, we could put you up in a motel, which is what happened then, which, wow. I do want to look into, of course, if there's any other links to the other murders in the area, because Moab is a small community. And even though in the area, in Utah, I believe 700 people, mostly women, have gone missing in the area. I don't know in exactly which time span. I believe it's in the last 20 years or something like that. Missing people. There's missing people everywhere worldwide, right? So that I understand, and they all matter. I wish we could investigate all of them. As I said, I'm hyper-focused, and I'm focused on this case right now. Hyper-focused, hyper-vigilant, and disciplined. So this is what you're getting on this channel right now. So I feel so sorry for Gabby when I see this footage, and she was terrified of being separated from him, and I don't think it's separation anxiety as much as fear of what he will do when they meet up again. I can only assume that they met up immediately. They might have gotten straight in the van and headed out. We don't even know. Did he check out the next morning? Did he stay there for 2 nights? That was the speculation, that they put him in there for 2 nights. That's what I've heard, but I don't have proof of that. So I don't know. Did they stay there or not? Did they eat there? Did they get their water? What happened right after that? If we had not had any eyewitnesses saying that they'd spotted the pair, I would have said, as I said in my initial speculations when I started covering the case, that already early on from after this date, I think things would have gone really badly for Gabby. But then, as we know, they still drove around. She still FaceTimed her mom. We're looking at the timeline, of course. Yes, I'm still busy with the timeline, but I must say people are doing an excellent job at creating the timeline. There are so many websites now. There's so many other content creators. Mostly I've seen like websites and lists, which are so brilliant. Like, you guys have got the timeline there. I mean, all I can do is piece it together. So I was making all the slides and things, which I'm still doing, piecing together all the stuff of what happened and when and how. It's just, yeah, I want to investigate the other murders in the area, because they were saying the last homicide occurred that they can confirm in the 90s, like 1996, I think. So Brian arrives in the area and suddenly 2 women are murdered, and Gabby, that's 3, and a man is found. I'm not sure yet if that's a homicide or not. And allegedly now there's even 7 or 8 bodies found around that area. Like, that is something to consider. And at this point, based on everything and how well he's staying hidden, of course, with the speculative help of his parents. It's actually not speculative. People say I mustn't just blame the family. You know, the whole Brian is innocent clan, like, ooh, I don't know how to relate there. There's a small chance, but it's very, 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 very small. He's not innocent. It's just we don't know what happened to Gabby yet. But the FBI are on it. They're looking for the DNA. They're investigating. I'm sure they look bad right now with Dog the Bounty Hunter, a reality TV star, coming out and saying, I will find him and all that. I mean, if he does, amazing. I think at this point, if anyone said, I mean, if I said, I will find him, I mean, you guys would be super excited and cheer me on. It's just inappropriate of me because I'm not the FBI and I'm not law enforcement and I'm doing my best to cover the case. Will I find him? I don't know. How is anyone going to find him besides, I think, people who have the equipment and the technology to track him and the phones or anything that he has, anything, any trail to really narrow down the search. I really just hope that this case will have the conclusion of finding him and getting answers, possibly even interrogation tapes that we could look at everything and understand fully what happened as human beings, what happened here. And if it is a DV case gone this wrong, that is so painful in itself. You know, if he isn't this calculated serial killer, you know, with all these books that he's reading and all the funny art he does and the shady mom and dad, like if it's nothing more than, and I mean this with utmost respect, but if it's nothing more than domestic violence turned into a murder and he's just running off like a micromelon, that's why I say micromelon, then that is so sad. If you are in a situation like that, please contact the help centers in your country. Each country has domestic violence help centers. There are mental health help centers, suicide hotlines, all of that stuff. And as I say, therapy is very, very valuable. So I'm going to end the video there. I mean, it's only been 2 hours. If you're still here, then damn, thank you so much for watching that whole thing with me. I really appreciate it. I decided to not do this in part 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is the normal format I do, but just to do it all in one. Couldn't wait to share this with you and leave you with my insight. I now again want to say this is the end credits. Thank you so much to everyone who's bought me a coffee, who's bought me, some of you buy me like 20 coffees at a time. That is amazing. You keep my cup full. You keep me going strong. It's because of you and your support from Buy Me a Coffees, from PayPal, from Super Chats, Super Stickers, and memberships that you are saying thank you for my hard work, which I appreciate so, so much because your messages are very, very detailed and specific, and I really appreciate it. I read every single one of them. I want to say thank you to everyone who is a member, who joins the live chats and donates things. The format of this channel will not work if I put my empath heart into this and say thank you, 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 like that for every live stream and every video. It annoys the audience, including the people who are supporting me. They're like, oh man, can you just get on with it? Like, could we see some more content? And I hear you, I see it, I understand. Just know my heart is full. I'm so, so grateful for your support. I see every single super chat, super sticker, coffee, PayPal donation. I see all your messages. I read them. I just have no capacity to respond to all of them because the support is tremendous. Thank you so, so much. So that's all I can do is thank my moderators. Thank you for being my moderators, for saying I'll be by your side no matter what. Like, I want to be a moderator to support you. I just want to be part of this and support you. That is amazing. So thank you to my moderators. Thank you to my channel members. Thank you for all the super chats, coffees, and PayPal. I really, really appreciate it. And of course, for everyone buying the books and the merch. That means a lot to me as well. So I am often someone who sort of undermines my own hard work. I know I work my absolute butt off, but I used to do that since I was a child with very little reward besides a medal around my neck or something, you know, like, wow, a trophy or a medal. That never meant anything to me. So if someone says, I want to collab with you because of the views you can get, it doesn't interest me at all. I'm not there. I'm not here for medals or trophies or anything like that. I mean, sure, if the FBI or Interpol want to hire me, that could be an interesting conversation. If I could have my own TV show, that could be an interesting conversation because of the value that I can bring. I don't care for numbers and trophies and all this kind of stuff, but I do appreciate every single person who's on this channel, who supports this channel, who hits the subscribe button. Still, 82% are not subscribed. So if you could do that, that would be amazing. If you could join us all over here. But thank you so much. I think you guys understand. You've all encouraged me and supported me, and like, thank you for getting back to the content and stop saying thank you all day long and stop apologizing. I understand. I completely understand. So I will see you in the next video. Yes, the next one. I know you're waiting for map time. I am going to do map time to look at where all the bodies were found, and not all, but for now, the 2 women, Gabby, and the man that was recently found. So I will see you for the next one. Thank you so, so much. Let me just show you this slide over here. The Micromelon merch is now available. All proceeds from all the merch sold in every single range that I have that you buy from now until the 31st of October, all that money will be donated to the Gabby Petito Fund. Thank you so much to everyone who's already buying the merch. Let me know when you have it. Show me pictures of it. I would love to put it up on Instagram or something like that. If I have the capacity, of course. Of course, if 20,000 people buy it, that's going to be very, very difficult. But I would love to see you in it. I would love to say thank you to you. And I will then see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.